So the next part of this unit is called converting from customary to metric units. This is actually kind of tricky when you first do it, but then once you get the hang of the cross-canceling, it actually becomes very easy, especially since I'm going to be allowing you to use a calculator to do out the actual calculations. So basically, the United States has a customary system, and it's our system of measurement that contains units for length, capacity, and weight. The metric system is what pretty much the rest of the planet uses except for us. And theirs is based on powers of 10, and it contains units for length, capacity, and mass as well. They just use powers of 10, and we don't. Theirs is actually a lot easier, but for whatever reason, the United States has their own unit of measurement, so ours is a little bit different. So a conversion factor is a rate that equals 1. So, for example, a basic one would be that 1 year equals 52 weeks. They both mean the same exact thing. 1 foot equals 12 inches, and so on. You could also say 1 week equals 7 days, as long as one of the rates is a 1. So we have to use conversion factors if we're trying to get from one system of measurement to another in order to find what they're equal to. So to convert from one unit to another, you need to use conversion factors and set up labeled fractions. Diagonal labels need to be able to cross-cancel. So we've done cross-canceling before, and that's when you look diagonally across and see if there's anything you can divide both numbers by to make them smaller. Cross-canceling with labels is very different. Basically, you want your diagonal labels to be the same, and you just cross them out. So I'm going to do an example with you. So make sure you're trying this one with me. Now, reminder, when you actually have this, and when we do this in class, you're going to have a big chart that I made you with all these conversion rates. You're not expected to memorize any of them. I don't even have any of them memorized. So let's try this one. It says, for example, convert 30 feet into inches. So what you do is you take the first thing that they tell you, which in this case is 30 feet, and you write it as a fraction over 1. So 30 feet over 1. Our goal is to convert this into inches. So what you do is you multiply it by the conversion rate. Since we want to get rid of feet, that has to go on the bottom. And what we want is inches, that goes on the top. So now I have to think of the conversion rate here. Luckily, I actually know this one, that there's 12 inches in 1 foot. So I'm going to put 12 inches in 1 foot. We have our conversion now, it's set up. So what you do is you cross-cancel your labels. So that means you look diagonally across and see if anything matches. So feet and feet match, so you get to cross them out. This one doesn't have a label, so there's nothing to cross out. But if you do this, what you realize is that the label that you're ending up with is what you want. We wanted to have inches, so now that's our final label. Now we just multiply fractions like you normally would. Numerator times numerator, denominator times denominator. So 3 times 12 is 36, and then I'll put a 0 at the end. So that means 30 feet is equivalent to 360 inches. They both mean the same exact thing. Okay, so you start with what they tell you and you write it over 1 with your labels. You absolutely have to label for these so that you can cross cancel. Our goal is to get to inches. So inches goes on the top. What we want to get rid of is feet, so that goes on the bottom. It goes on the bottom so that you could diagonally cross cancel your labels. Then you write in your conversion, which would be on your chart that I gave you, and then you multiply the two fractions. Okay, so I'm going to pause and try the next one with you. The next one's a little bit trickier. So sometimes it takes more than 2 fractions or more than 2 conversion rates to get your answer. So for example, for this one, they want us to convert 10 ounces to kilograms. So I take the first thing, which is 10 ounces. I'm going to put OZ for ounces. So 10 ounces over 1, first step. Our goal is to make this into kilograms. Unfortunately, there is no conversion that go from ounces straight to kilograms. So I'm actually looking on your chart right now that I gave you guys, and I can get ounces to pounds. So I'm going to do that first. Now, I want to get rid of ounces, so that's going to go on the bottom, and I'm going to put pounds on the top. Okay? Now, according to my chart, there are 16 ounces in 1 pound. Okay, so now I have this conversion, but this is not my final goal. My goal is to get to kilograms. If you look diagonally across now, I have ounces, so I can cross off the ounces. And now I want to keep on going because my goal is to get to kilograms. So now I have pounds, I want to get rid of pounds. So that's going to go on the bottom. If I look at my chart, the chart that I gave you, it actually says that 1 pound equals 0.454 kilograms. And now I want to see if I can cross cancel anything, which is my goal. So pounds are diagonally across, so I can cross those out. And now every single label is crossed out except for kilograms, which is what I want. So now all I have to do is multiply the fractions. So I'm going to do numerator times numerator times numerator, and then denominator times denominator times denominator, and then I'm going to divide the two. At this point, you could do all of this on a calculator. So I'm doing 10 times 0.454, which is actually going to give me 4.54, over 1 times 16 times 1, which is just 16. And then on a calculator, I'm going to type in 4.54 divided by 16. And actually, let me do that right now. Okay, so my final answer, and I'm going to round it because it's kind of a lot of decimals, but 0.28 kilograms. So that would be your final answer. Okay, so that means that 10 ounces is the same exact thing as 0.28 kilograms. So you start with what they tell you, label it, put it over 1. And then you have to see if there was an ounces to kilograms conversion rate, I would have done that, but there isn't one. So I had to kind of, it's like a puzzle. I have ounces and pounds, so I could do that, and then I can go from pounds to kilograms. Okay, so we're going to do some on the video, on the actual textbook now.